So we're asked to produce tests at various levels. We're asked to produce ideas for testing. We're asked to produce test cases. And we use techniques. And I'm a big fan of techniques. I think techniques can actually enhance our tests. But just let's say we spend 2 days out of the 15 actually designing our tests. That's about 14%. So now we're down to 75.5% of us running tests and finding bugs. You see where I'm going with this, can't you? Because our main objective in testing is running tests and finding bugs. So let's not stop there. How many, and please have a show of hands here, I want to see, and be truthful, how many of you are asked to produce detailed test procedures or scripts in your organization and run them? Okay, probably, oh yeah, I'm sure there's more than that, okay. Probably about half of you. Let me tell you about detailed test scripts and procedures. There's only 3 reasons to produce them. 1, if you want someone else to run those scripts that doesn't know the system. That's a good reason. Number 2, you want it for automation. Automation tools do not know the detail. You have to tell automation scripts what to do. And number 3 is auditability. Failing those 3 things, I think they're a complete and utter waste of time. And they drain every energy out of a good, experienced tester. And we're writing these monolithic scripts that are awful to maintain, tedious to build at first sight, and terrible to run. And I liken it to a recipe. One of my hobbies is cooking. I've been starting to do it over the last 7 years, and I'm not a chef by any means, but I'm just getting into Thai food. I went to Thailand this year, and I love Thai food, but I'm starting to build up my repertoire of Thai food cooking, but I need recipes. Now, a script or a procedure is like a recipe. Step 1, do this. Step 2, do this. And if we think about it, this up here, this is my idea for testing. The ingredients are my test cases, and the recipe is this detail here that we need to follow. Now, I put it to you. If you said to Gordon Ramsay, do you know who Gordon Ramsay is? Yeah? Okay. If you said to Gordon Ramsay, Gordon, could you make this dish for me? Gordon would say, absolutely, Lloyd. Fantastic, I'll do that. And you said to him, but what I'd like you to do, I'd like you to use Jamie Oliver's recipe. He will use the F word a lot. Now, experienced testers, this is a no-go area. If I was in an organization and they gave me these detailed scripts to run, I would leave. Because as an experienced tester, I want to use my creativity. I want to use my skill set in order to test the product, not to be told by other people. Now, let's assume we spend 2 out of 15 days actually designing and building our test procedures. That's 14%. Now, I mentioned 3 reasons for actually building these scripts, and one of them is if we wanted to give our scripts to somebody else. Now, I'm at an organization that had outsourced their test execution to India. Now, I don't have a problem with that at all, but what I do have a problem with this. Their experienced testers were spending all of their time in the UK writing detailed scripts for the people in India to run. And what they found is the people in India would only run what they were told to run, and they wouldn't do anything else. And I said to them, why don't you do this? Now, we have a program in the UK called the Great British Bake Off. I don't know if you've seen it or it's come over to Budapest or in your country. Now, one of the items in the program is the technical challenge. And I always like the technical challenge because what they do is they give the recipe, but they take things out. And it's like, do this and then bake in the oven. And it's like, what temperature, how long? And it's like, they don't know. And they've got to use their skill in order to do it. So I turn around and say, if you've got to give scripts over to another part of the organization or other testers, just take things out and let them use their mind and build their experience up rather than blindly following a script. So, we're down to 61.5% of our time executing tests. However, we need environments. Test environments, it's amazing. I go around to many organizations and I think test environments are the weakest link in most organizations. Test environments that don't have data that's representative, they have volatile environments that keep crashing. Sometimes they're using someone else's environment, and it just creaks along. And testers really struggle. And one of the things I did as a manager is I monitored how much time my environment was available for my testers. And if it went below a certain percentage, I would be raising alarm bells to get a new environment. If our test environment is out of date, it's not representative, it's volatile, then testing cannot succeed. So we do need to spend time generating our data and generating our environment. But there are three options we can do. We could create our own. We could use someone else to create our environments, another team, an operations team, or a mixture of the two. But there are advantages and disadvantages of both of those. It takes time to define our environment. It takes time to create our data and also to maintain it. And if we do outsource it to somebody else, then we're reliant on those other people, and that has political problems. Our environment was with the operations team. And whenever environments went into the operations team, we had to phone them up to start servers and to stop servers. And initially, they were really, really encouraging, and they were really helpful. And you'd phone them up and say, "Can you start the server for me?" Like, "Oh, yes, Lloyd, that's no problem." 5 minutes later, I'd be phoning them and saying, "Could you stop the server?" "Yes, Lloyd, no problem." After a day of this, it was, "Can you start the server?" "No." "Why?" "We're busy." "Okay, when can you do it?" "Next week." And it was a real problem, and we decided to take the server out and maintain it ourselves, but that took effort. So if we say half a day, each of us, to spend on the data and the environment, that's now 3.5% of it. So we're now down to 58% of actually running tests and finding bugs.